Okay. Welcome everybody. We have been having so much fun in the green room here. I'm so excited to be introducing this event for y'all. Just giving a sec for everyone to connect to audio. All righty. So thank you for joining us this evening. RJ Julia, Wesley and RJ Julia, BookHampton, and Books and Books are very, very excited to present Todd Doughty in conversation with Helen Ellis for Todd's wonderful book, Little Pieces of Hope. I'm just going to run through a few quick Zoom tips before we get started. Please send questions at any point using webinar's Q&A feature, which you can access at the bottom of your screen. And we will get to as many as possible during the later Q&A portion of the event, so thanks in advance. This is the part where I add a fun bonus note that Helen is going to buy the person who asked the best question, the one that sends them off on the longest, weirdest tangent, a copy of Todd's book. So keep that in mind for Q&A and send your best question in because you might get a free book out of it. If at any time you drop off of Zoom or you experience technical difficulties, you can just click the link you were emailed to be readmitted to the webinar. But most importantly, please don't forget to purchase your own gorgeous copy of Little Pieces of Hope, as well as one for everybody you know, from any of tonight's 4 host stores. And links will be sent to you in the chat box. There they are now. As another special bonus, we do have a limited number of signed book plates, so be sure to get your order in ASAP if you'd like one of those. And now, before I disappear, I'm just going to share a little about our guests of honor today before I let them take it away. Helen Ellis is the author of Southern Lady Code, American Housewife, Eating the Cheshire Cat. Raised in Alabama, Helen lives with her husband in New York City, and you can find her on Twitter at What I Do All Day and Instagram at Helen Ellis Author. As for Todd, I thought this was super fun. John Grisham has described him as, direct quote, one of the happiest people on the planet, folks. You are lucky to be here with him tonight. He is currently SVP, Deputy Publisher of Doubleday, and has worked at Penguin Random House for more than 2 decades. A graduate of Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, and a former bookseller, which we always love to hear. He lives with his partner in Westchester County, New York. Called The Ultimate Compendium of Joy by Kevin Kwan, Little Pieces of Hope is a beautiful keepsake full of gorgeous illustrations that brims with the pleasure of life, inspiring readers to look for and celebrate the good things that surround us. RJ Julia, Wesley and RJ Julia, BookHampton, and Books and Books are so grateful to have Todd and Helen here in conversation with us today. So I am going to let them get started, and I will see you all later for your brilliant questions during Q&A. Have a great event, guys.
Thank you, Abby.
Hi,
Todd. Hi, my friend.
So we're going to do several things this evening because you know I enjoy an activity.
You do.
Yes. So the first activity I want to do is throughout the evening, I want us to share happy making things in a difficult world. So all mine fit in this dish. So I'm going to start with my first happy making thing in a difficult world. Do you recognize this?
That is a Post-it from me on something that I sent you, and that's the only word I wrote on it.
Wow. And I will say, I showed it to my husband, and he says, do you remember when you signed a note to me? Moi? And I didn't know what that meant. I know what it means, and you can see that it's folded because it lives in my wallet, and I always travel with a kiss from you.
I love that.
And I have to say, there are certain people in your life and everyone's life, or at least my life, where you see that person and you are instantly drawn to that person. And I have such a memory of meeting you for the first time in a high office floor of the Doubleday building. And it was you and probably 6 other folks there to sort of suss me out to see if I could, complete a sentence and not fidget. But I saw you and you had the biggest smile. There it is. And I just thought, I want to go to there. I want to be with him. I want to be his friend. And I'm so happy to say that we are great friends, and it
We
really
are.
fulfills me. And you have this ability to make the person you're with feel like they're the only person in the room. And when I read this, I know that all of your readers will feel just as special when they feel that energy shining out from the book. So show me one of your little things.
We're 3 minutes in and it's going to start. The water works.
Yes, I was only successful unless we're both trying.
Okay, well, thank you for that, my friend. I love you. I love you dearly. I remember that day, and it has been a wonderful pleasure to work with you, to get to know you. We have bonded over designing women and so many other things. So my happy making thing is what I showed earlier, which is your new book called Bring Your Baggage and Don't Pack Light, which is your fourth and third with Doubleday. I too will donate a copy of this book with my book. So we'll work that out for the tangent question so that readers can see you on the page, because you are hilarious and heartfelt. And it is, there are 12 essays in here that are some of the funniest things I have ever read in my life. Some of the most moving things I have ever read in my life. You go to the, you travel with your girlfriends, you are feeling bad about your neck as our mutual adoration society. It looks amazing. And we both love Nora Ephron, but it is such fun. And it is, I think, the broadest thing that you have done thus far in scale. And it shows the talent, the great talent that you have. So I will happily include Bring Your Baggage for our winner.
You are a muse to me. You are a muse to me, and you are a muse for one of the stories in this book. Do you want to say the title of that story?
Should we say that?
I think everyone is an adult here.
The title of the story that I was the muse for is called Happy Birthday, You're Still Fuckable. We will let the readers. My mother is watching, Mom, I'm sorry, but it is a hysterical essay here and the reader will absolutely love it. But yes, we have a long history together and friendship, and we have a shorthand that we have established over the years. So I take great pride in being your muse.
Yes. Well, speaking of being a muse, I would love for you to read a small section of the book, and this is page 113. And this is on Halloween. We're all going to get a taste, a little Halloween taste.
So this is one of the specialists there in the book. Sabrina Bowers is the brilliant designer. Josie Portillo did all of the amazing art in the book. So this is Halloween. Happy making things in a difficult world. You need a little bit of a spooky voice. Okay. The hum of the neighborhood trick-or-treaters. Shep Woolley's recording of Purple People Eater. Superhero costumes worn by toddlers. That is a nod to my nephew Logan, who was Captain America. Mike, Dustin, Lucas, and Will dressed up as the Ghostbusters. Ichabod Crane's late night ride home. The Georgetown Exorcist stairs. Bobby Pickett's recording of Monster Mash.
Nice.
David S. Pumpkins. Toasting pumpkin seeds. Double, double, toil and trouble. Mini pumpkins and gourds on the steps. The Halloween heist episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The Treehouse of Horror episodes of The Simpsons. The Halloween surprise episode of Parks and Recreation, Season 5, Episode 5. Salem. Springwood. The Overlook Hotel.
Yes.
The Bates Motel. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz. Laurie Strode. Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. Plastic jack-o'-lantern candy pails. Mini candy bars. Counting out the candy. Musagorski's Night on Bald Mountain. Daytime trick-or-treating for the little ones. A full moon. Casper. Slimer. Oogie Boogie. That's the Halloween list.
I think that's such a perfect example of so many of the pieces in the book. So tell me, how did this happy making book come to be?
So this all started 19 months ago on Wednesday, March 11th, 2020. I remember it because it was the day that the WHO declared a global pandemic, and I was on the train. So the blame can be laid squarely at the feet of Metro North, our commuter rail. I was on the train, and there was just this lightning bolt of it had been a scary day and things were shifting very rapidly. And I thought, I'm gonna make a list of happy making things in a difficult world. And that was what the first list was called. And it's on my Instagram. I'm at Todd A. Doughty. That's Todd with 2 Ds on Instagram. And that first list had everything from New York City, fat goldfish, a really bad DJ at a wedding becoming really good DJ at a wedding, Eudora Welty's One Writer's Beginnings, Calabat's Paris Street Rainy Days. So it was this scattershot yet carefully curated list of all these different things that have brought me joy in my life. And
were you writing it on Instagram, or were you writing by hand?
That first one I typed directly into Instagram on my phone. And then what happened was a lot of family and friends, you included, started commenting, and people added their own things. And it was such a great way to have a dialogue with folks. And then I noticed a couple of strangers had put in their own happy making things as well. So I thought the next day, well, I'll keep going. And so I sat down and did another list, and then I just kept going and going and going. And then by just the miracle that has happened in my life, this is now a full book. There's Meg Letter is my brilliant editor and North Star extraordinaire. You are my
back that up. We're gonna back this up.
Oh, okay. You go.
Get up. Back it up.
Back it up.
Because you didn't just sit ass backwards into this book. Tell me, when did you realize you were writing a book?
Well, so that first, I guess I went for like a month and a half, 2 months. You were a friend who said to me, I think there's something here. I think there's something.
I told you. You know you're writing a book.
Yeah, you said it. And it was kind of like, it was you, Kristen Cochran, who's the CEO of Penguin Random House Canada, called me and said, you have a book here. This could be a book. But, again, that was really never the initial goal. Like mine was just, things are kind of scary. So I just want to think about books and paintings and TV shows and feelings and memories and kind of jot them all down in one place. Because I think that we all, of course, experience times in life that are either a regular bad day or a difficult time. It doesn't have to be, this unprecedented global pandemic that we have been through. That's part of life. And we all have these touchstones that keep us afloat or give us hope or, provide that calm when you have it. So I had kept going, and then people started talking about that, like this could be. So then Brittany Bloom, we share a wonderful literary agent, came to me. Cheers to her. And she said, this is something. So we then, it made its way to my colleagues at Penguin Life. As I mentioned, Meg is my amazing editor. And we were talking, and I thought it was like, voila, it's the Instagram into a book. And I was so naive. I was so naive. And Meg said to me, we need about 50% new material. And I thought, whoa.
How many days did you have at this point? How many lists did you have at this point?
I think at that point I had gone, if I remember correctly, was the end of July. So we're talking like 4 months, and I pretty much did them every day. By that point we were working from home. We had pivoted to work from home, and we would watch Jeopardy every night. And then I would come into the living room and plop on the couch. I had my phone. I did everything in the iPhone in notes because I wanted to be able to find different things. I didn't really want repeats. There are a few little Easter eggs. There were kind of a couple things, and I would take that out. So if there's something in the book that you recognize as once or twice, it's a different facet or an aspect of a thing. Like there are a couple of references to Mrs. Onassis and the Addams Family. Katharine Hepburn shows up, Lin-Manuel Miranda shows up, but they were very specific and different. I wanted that for myself and for the reader. And then Meg said to me, you know, it might be really great if you picked a few things and wrote in a longer format about one thing specifically. So
what was the first subject that you did that with?
I think the first one was small towns, which is, I grew up in a small town in rural Southern Illinois, Carterville, population 5,800. And hello to my friends and family who are watching tonight. And I think that was the first one. And then I made a little list of things, you know, I brought a show and tell for you.
Oh, goody.
So,
next one.
One of the essays is red velvet cake. So my grandmother Peggy used to make them for me every time I came home. And there it is. Let's get a little closer. There's 7 layers there. Yeah, my favorite dessert to this day.
Yes.
It was Small Towns, Red Velvet Cake. There's an essay on living your life like Mary Bailey out of It's a Wonderful Life. That one I had fun with because I watched the movie during COVID. And I was sitting there and I was like, well, yeah, George is the hero, but really she's the engine that kind of drives everything. And when you start,
do that a lot. You do pull out the supporter, you know, in these pieces.
Yeah.
And your grandmother, the cake, Mary Bailey, who did you write about in Charlotte's Web?
Templeton the Rat.
The rat.
That one is an ode to all the grouches in the world.
Yes.
I wrote about a couple of specific songs, a specific painting, and then one of the last essay was actually written earlier in the process. So anyway, there's 16 of those, and the final one relates to the dedication of the book, which is to Randy, my partner, and his mother, Mama, who passed in February. And it's also to my mom and her parents and her grandmother. Mm-hmm. And the last essay is called The Things That Last, and it ties everything together. So I did about 41 extra lists, plus the 16 essays, plus 8 playlists that are in the book. So I made you a mixtape. There's all sorts of different mixtapes in there.
Yeah. Which can be found on Spotify, right? Is it on?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Which I listen to and love. Yes.
The Penguin folks, Molly Fessenden is the marketing director, and she's amazing. And she created a Penguin playlist based on the book. And then I have the 8 playlists on my Spotify. So, you know, after everything was kind of compiled together, what Meg and I did, I just posted a photo of this the other day. I took the physical manuscript and I tabbed all the different parts. I tabbed everything, you know, an essay, a playlist, a new list, an old list. And then Meg and I went through and we ordered everything. So when you read the book, I wanted it to have that feel of kind of you not knowing what's going to happen on the next page. So maybe there's an individual item or a grouping, or there's the essay, et cetera. And we found a brilliant artist, Josie Portillo, who did all of the art that you see on the cover and the back. She's incredible. Yes. And she did about 30 original pieces. So we worked with Josie to kind of handpick everything we wanted to be drawn. Yes, there's the Schitt's Creek wedding of Patrick and David and the deli counter tab. So there's art throughout.
And there we have our callback.
There you go. See, so there's an Easter egg, but it had to be different.
Yeah.
That was kind of the.
Call that a tag. You tag.
Okay, that's it. All right, now I'll know now. And then we had this wonderful designer, Sabrina Bowers at Penguin, actually designed the look of the book. And when we were talking about it, I said, you know, the lists are zigzag, but they're kind of connected. And so I just see different fonts, and maybe some are in bold, and maybe some are different, and maybe some are big on the page and some are smaller, you know, but I just wanted it to be that sense of joy that you get from the lists themselves to also be the experience of reading it. And that's all I said. And Sabrina and Josie worked their magic. The book is gorgeous. It's so well put together. I'm so proud of it.
How did you find Josie? How did you find the illustrator?
Meg found Josie, I believe on Instagram, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So, and the cover went through a couple of iterations, but it came very, very fast.
Oh, I love it so much because it has
Yeah,
all the
it's got
things
that
inside.
happy yellow.
Happy yellow, happy yellow. I
So
know.
it was really, the funny thing is, you and I have talked about this a little bit. Like, I've never done anything like this before. I've always been on the other side of the publishing
Tell the people who
fence.
you is.
I work at Doubleday. I have a hand in marketing and I oversee the publicity department. I have been a publicist for the past 23 years, including yours. And
who are the big folks? Talk about the big folks.
I work with
Grisham,
John
Atwood.
Grisham, Margaret Atwood, Dan Brown, Kevin Kwan, my friend Adria Chajani. I was her first publicist. Chris Bajalian. And it's just been, for a book nerd like me, working with you all has been just this incredible professional life. And to do this and be on the other side of it was crazy, because like we're the caboose of the train on the publicity side. Like we get everything when it's done. That whole book is done, the cover is ready, it is designed, it is ready to go. And we bring it to the wider world through media and the bookstores and bookseller friends. And I can only equate this experience to crafting these lists, and then the book themselves was like taking a toy out of a box every day. And you play with the toy, and the toy makes you happy. And then you put the toy back in the box, and then you go on with life. But for those couple of hours every night, I just sort of went down this rabbit hole of joy. And that's what the whole experience was. And then to bring in all of the amazing folks from Penguin and Josie, I mean, you don't get much luckier than this.
I want to pick up on two things you said.
Yeah.
One is, I think playing with a toy as the act of writing is a really great description. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. So when did you admit to yourself that you are a writer?
I think it was when I first saw the full thing together. And it was this stack of paper that had come out of the phone and it became tangible. And that sounds nuts, but on Instagram though, it's like the post and then you're done. And like, if you go scroll through the feed, you can see it all together in the aggregate. But I think it was when I was turning it in about this time last year for the first pass, that it was the first time where I looked at that and thought it. And it, again, the fact that this is a miracle, that this exists is a miracle, and that's not lost on me at all. And it took me a little while to realize, oh, that's what has happened. But the act of that, I've worked with a lot of writers for a long time, and
20-something years, yes.
Yeah, I'm old, but
I'm still, my gift is I'm always going to be older than you.
not by much. But I think that I never understood the importance of that discipline until you're doing it. Like, you go and write every day. I know you do. You go to the library and you find your desk and you write and you do it, and you have a spreadsheet. And I know, yes, and I know like that act for you is very important. That's your professional life. And I had never done that before. So it was kind of amazing. Like, it was a great experience.
What's so important, I want people who are watching and listening to hear this, because I think there's this myth that you have to become a writer in a certain way. Like, you have to go to school, you have to go to graduate school, you have to get these degrees, you have to go to McDowell. You don't have to do any of that. I personally sort of got my writing life back through Twitter, like through one tweet a day. And how you talk about you getting your writing life, the practice was through Instagram. And how I love that. It makes me think about Rubik's Cube. I
like that.
Love that idea of, because it is, you do just do a little bit, do this, do this, or like a puzzle where you, especially with your book, because it's so many, every page can stand alone. But then,
well, that's a good point, because I think that you can definitely read it from cover to cover straight through, or I started calling it last week, I was thinking about it, and it's really sort of this daily devotional of delight that you can
Yes.
open and jump into a page, and there's your list for the day, or there's your essay for the day, and then you can close it and there's a surprise waiting for you tomorrow,
It's a rabbit hole. It really is. It's a rabbit hole of joy. You're Alice, going down the rabbit hole. And
well,
and it's also meditative. I think makes me think of Margaret Rankel's Late Migrations. Like that's the last book
I love that book.
About, where you can just read a page. And sometimes the page is, like the Halloween page. And sometimes, the page is just 3 sentences.
That's right.
But what we haven't even mentioned is the fact that there are not to-do list, I would say in here, but sort of like, well, I guess you'd say to-do list, like happy to-do lists.
Yeah, I started early on, I think it was every Saturday or a weekend day, I think, where I started doing these lists of things you might consider doing today.
Yeah.
I actually just did one. So the sidebar of that is throughout all of this, I kept going.
Yes.
And it may not be every day, but I did keep going. I just did a post last Friday, and is that right? I did it Thursday, and then I did another things you might consider doing over the weekend. So I kept going because it was really fun. And Ruth Liebman, a legendary colleague at Penguin Random House, and our friends at BookHampton, Books and Books, and RJ Julia know who I'm talking about. She said to me once that there is a fine line between memory and discovery.
Yes.
And that was really sort of key to this book, that it can either spark a memory of something that you haven't thought about in a while, or it can lead you down a path of something you haven't experienced, heard, seen, read. Because people will notice, like throughout, there are articles that I read during this time that made their way into the book. Yes. So, I hope that happens for people. And conversely, I say in the opening, if there's something you don't like, just get out your pen, X through it, and write something that you like. Create your own list.
Highlight it, and
there you go.
Back to it.
There you go.
Because I think about, what I love that you don't do is you don't explain what's on the list. So when you write Julia and Mary Jo and Suzanne and Charlene, well, people just need to figure that out. But I will say that you will always be the Charlene to my Julia. And I
wear that banner with pride.
And I want to go back to our show and tell.
Oh, yes.
I'm ready. I really love the idea of playing with that toy every day, doing something that's in practice. And I have friends who are writers who do things that aren't writing every day. Like I personally work the crossword puzzle in the New York Times every day.
Do you pen or pencil?
I will tell you. I do pen, ballpoint, big pen, Monday through Wednesday. And then Thursday through Sunday, I start with my black wing pencil. And then once I know it's correct, I write it in pen.
You've never told me this.
Oh, so much secret time. And what I think it does for me is it one, it helps with your vocabulary, but 2, it gets your brain going and you're less afraid to make a mistake if you write it in pencil. Anyway, so people I know have different practices, and I want to show off an artistic practice of a friend of mine who you have met. We had a fabulous dinner one night down at the Little Owl on a snowy night. My friend Martin Wilson. Did. And so he gave me these. Can you see?
Oh, little painted rocks.
Little painted
That's Big
rocks.
Boy, right?
That's Lucy. And he made these when he was probably, here's Alice. He did these when he was a child.
Martin is really good.
Aren't they good? And they live in my little dish by on my desk. And I have one friend, my friend Ann Napolitano, for 2 years painted a tree a day. Wow. And my friend Hannah Tinty, another writer, painted a demon a day.
Don't ask.
Don't ask. All up in her apartment. But I think it's so important, just to do. I know, and my friend Megan if you follow Megan Abbott
Yes.
on Instagram, you will see pictures from her morning walk. She takes morning walks, and she lives in Queens, but it looks like something out of a, Wes Anderson / Tarantino movie. I don't know.
She's a really good photographer.
She's a fantastic photographer. So do you do anything? I mean, this was very artistic for you, but what else do you do that's artistic?
Well, I tried lately over the past few months. I think one of the things that I've been trying to do, I try to think of like 5 things you're grateful for before you fall asleep. So I've been doing that, but on a show and tell note,
yes,
I will see your painted rocks, and I will raise you. I did not do this, but I recently bought this. This is a tiny little painting. I'll put it back here.
No, put it closer.
It's called Christmas Eve.
Beautiful.
And it's these 2 little figures walking in the snow. So we have this little drugstore here in town that has a double front window, and one side is stuff that they're selling, whatever that is, in the drugstore, and the other side is devoted to artists. And they let these amateur artists come in and sell their works in the window. And I saw and loved that little Christmas Eve, it's called Christmas Eve painting, and I bought it.
And who do you see in picture?
I don't know. Well, I like to think that it's a Hallmark movie or a Lifetime movie of somebody, walking in the snow. So I did think, I'm a Hallmark movie nut.
Yes.
We are very devoted followers and fans here.
Yes.
I came up with a possible Little Pieces of Hope idea for a Hallmark movie.
Yes. Yes.
So we got to make this happen. I don't know how, but I'll get a script template and we'll get to town.
Well, I look at that painting and I see a happy couple.
Yes.
And I know that you are part of a very long-term happy couple, as am I. And
yes.
As a writer, I want to talk about Randy. I want to know how he inspires you.
That's how long is the show?
But it's specifically with the book, with our.
I think like everybody, we entered, because we both ended up working from home very quickly. That pivot happened, and I know Lex did as well with you. And we were pretty isolated here because it was, a scary time, and folks were being very, very careful. And we just sort of had this cocoon. So every night it was, as I mentioned, dinner, Jeopardy, sit down, do the lists. And then the early days of the pandemic, and a gin and tonic, and the early days of the pandemic were spent watching Schitt's Creek, which he had seen, I believe, the first season, and I had not seen it. So for those who see the book, you will note in the dedication, he is the Patrick to my David since 96. And I will tell you, that cast and that crew and all of the people that made that, Dan Levy and all of them, they were my happy place. I can quote that show almost verbatim now. Open mic, MVP, like those are my favorite. The Incident, those are my 3 favorites. But that was something that we shared in the early days.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I know. I think, one of our favorite writers at Doubleday is Ariel Lawhorn.
Yes.
Who also is very happily married. And I think we don't see that portrayed as much, in work. And I see it, that's what I see. And one of the things I see in Little Pieces of Hope is a celebration of love, of love.
Well, that's actually, that makes me happy that you feel that way, because these are all things that have either meant something to me or I've discovered and loved and fallen in love with over the years. Again, it's everything from books to paintings to TV shows to photographs to movies to a memory, like the coats on the bed at Thanksgiving, like the pile of coats, the last cousin that arrives, or the last member of the family that arrives, and then everything can start. Like those are visceral. I come from a very big family on both sides, and my stepdad's family, we're a big bunch, and those memories are really precious. We lost our Mimi, my grandmother, this summer, and she was an incredible human being, and celebrations were had all throughout the year. Family is a touchstone, and to tie it back to that last essay, when you read that, one of the things that I say is love begets more love. And I know that because the book, as I mentioned, is dedicated to my mother, her parents, and her grandmother. And her parents and grandmother all died on the same day in 1960. My grandparents were in a car accident, and when they told my grandmother's mother, she died of a heart attack that day. And I know that love lasts because I've seen it imprinted on me and my sisters. So what you have seen through the course of 248 pages in the book are literally over 3,000 things that have lasted, but I believe that love lasts too.
And I know that a lot of the things are physical things.
Yes.
And would you consider yourself an archivist?
I would consider myself a hoarder, but nothing scary and nothing messy. I am a bit of a pack rat. I have saved letters over the years. I've saved every note you've ever given me. I've saved articles I rip out of the paper. There's an article about the friendship. I'm not quoting the title correctly, but by Carl Svazara Anthony, about the friendship between Mrs. Onassis and Lady Bird Johnson. And I've had that thing from, I think it was Smithsonian, for about 30 years. And that made its way into the book. So I've been a magpie collecting things. I have, this was another show and tell that I brought for you. So we have, sorry, let me get it here. Let's see, here we go. So this is an antique, there's a special Christmas list and playlist in the book. So there's an antique postcard.
I have
So this is the handwriting, Merry Christmas 1910 from Doughty, who is my great-grandfather's sister.
And
so
what's the address on it?
It doesn't say, but some of them on there, it's just like Route 1. Like it literally just has Helen Ellis, Route 1, and that's it. But I've saved all those. So I'm more of a hoarder, but a proud one. I mean, there's all the books.
It's all, or if it's organized.
It's not a compulsion.
No, I think of your Christmas postcards, because I have some Christmas postcards back in the day that I have, now just brace yourself, I have hole punched and put a little ribbon through, and I hang them on our Christmas tree.
That.
And my motto has always been, if it fits on the Christmas tree, it's not hoarding. Although I will tell you, this year, we think about
There's your new essay title. Hello.
Please. You don't even know. I get muse, but with the pandemic and with, little pieces of joy, and we've all been in our homes for so long, and you really look around at what brings you happiness. And I'm a lady who puts the Christmas tree up, and it is a fake Christmas tree, as gold as a stripper's thong. And it goes up on Thanksgiving Day, and it comes down on the day after New Year's. And
your Christmas tree was in the New York Times, by the way.
That was the white one that began to yellow like an old Santa's beard at a mall. So it was replaced with the gold one. But this year, during the pandemic last year, I swore that we have 4 rooms in this apartment, but we were going to become a 2 Christmas tree household.
Ooh.
And so there is a new Christmas tree in the basement, and it's bubblegum pink. So
I can't wait to see it.
So I've already started to get some more ornaments.
But to that point, like during this time, I think it caused us all, as does any time of hardship. Again, it can be just a one-off day or a tough time. I began to notice things around me differently. And I think we all started to pay attention to what mattered to us. Yeah. And that is one thing that has stuck with me through through all of this. Really, truly, like looking at things in a different way.
I will show you my next show and tell item.
Yes.
Is my mood ring.
Ooh, I love
from
it.
A girlfriend.
What does green mean?
I lost the chart.
Oh, we'll say
But
happy.
I'll tell you that I just came back from Vegas where I was playing poker and I was wearing this ring and I push all my chips in and the guy is thinking forever, is he gonna call me? Is he gonna call me? And he falls, thank goodness. But he says, lady, is that a move? I said, yeah. He's like, you need to take that off because I could tell you were strong.
Well, for those who may not know, you are a champion poker player.
Please. Like I said earlier, I put that immunity to the test last week in Las Vegas.
Well, I do have one more show and tell.
Yeah.
So this is a novel called Shady Hollow by Juno Black, which was written by two booksellers that our amazing rep Jason Gobble found. And they will now, there are three of them, and they will now be published by Vintage Books next spring. And the brilliance behind this, deep in the forest, there is a place where the woodland creatures live together in harmony. Moose and mice, owls and bears, and many more call the charming village of Shady Hollow home. All is well until a toad is found floating face down in the mud pond. It's something these folks haven't seen before, a murder. All of the protagonists are animals and they talk and they have jobs. And our heroine is a reporter fox named Vera Vixen. It is so much fun. I love it. Oh,
I'm going to show you another happy making thing that I wasn't even going to show you.
Our friend John.
Yes, our friend John McDougall of another fabulous independent bookstore, Murder by the Book. I'm
Houston, Texas.
Cozy of the Month Club, which came today. And,
it's in a purse?
No, this is my bag it comes in. So today, it's the Cozy of the Month. I haven't even looked yet.
Look, I'm trying to peek over the Zoom to see.
Yeah, exactly. Chapter and curse. And there's a cat on the cover. So that's a very good sign. So my last real show and tell is, can you see her?
Oh, she's in the martini glass.
It's Dita Von Teese.
Oh, you do love her.
I do love Dita Von Teese. And let me tell you, when you are quarantined and locked down for 19 months, I am the best looking lady in this apartment. So, it brought out the burlesque in me.
That's okay. Whatever gets you through. We all have the touchstones. It's okay.
Yeah. Now I know it's almost time for us to take questions. So I want everybody to start writing in their questions so that someone will get a book and we'll get, a dose of joy. What I want to say about the book is, which we haven't said, is you'll never be bored. You can never be bored with this book. There's, like I say, there's a to-do list. There's always something to do. It is for all ages. It is, the rated G of rated G. For golly gee, this is terrific. So,
well, thank you, my friend.
Perfect for everyone.
What was amazing was I'd never been through copy editing before. So these two incredible colleagues, Randy Marullo and Karen Wise, were my copy editors, and they sent me with Meg's notes the copy edit list, and they literally took out everything that was in the book and separated it by whatever it was, play, article, movie, etc., you name it. And it was all 3,000 items. It's over here in the desk, but I don't remember how long it was, but I remember just looking at these pages and it was amazing. That's the other part of it, like talking about kind of just doing it every day. It really wasn't until seeing that stack that
it's meditative.
They were there.
And you get that sense of calm and you get that sense of serenity when you read it. And I want people to savor it. I think it should be savored.
I like that idea.
Stay on your bedside. You should read it before you go to sleep.
I think we need a page a day calendar.
Oh, I think so. Yes, I think.
I have to cut in because that was actually a suggestion, an independent suggestion from somebody in the
Seriously?
Q&A. Yeah, they
Oh,
said
wow.
it was really good because I was sitting there reading it, being like, I would totally buy this. She says inclusion of a song, an illustration, and one piece of hope per day for the whole year.
That's Mary Lou. That's Mary Lou
Yes.
from Kenny Buckport. Hi, Mary Lou.
There you go.
That's a great idea. I would love that.
All right.
Yeah, I would love the page a day. I think the other thing, I think I may have mentioned this earlier. If I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. But I hope the other thing is that folks will start jotting down your own little lists. Like if you go into my Instagram, you'll see the comments, and there's some really good stuff that people came up with.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, I want a gratitude journal. I want, I want a journal, like a breakfast journal, or who was it? Who was the famous gratitude Browning? Three name.
Oh,
loved her.
it was the simple gratitude. There was the
Something
pink
like that.
book. Yeah.
Anyway, I want one of those, and I want pictures in it.
Yes, I think you need the pictures and 2 or 3 a day. So Mary Lou, we'll try to get on that.
Tying into something else that y'all had just said. So as you were sort of hearing from other people, getting responses from other people, what were the things that kept coming back up again? Because I'm sure you saw like patterns or like certain things that had more frequency.
What happened was it would be something led to something else. Like I can't think of a really good example right now, but let's just say if it was something fall related, there would be another fall related thing. And it was something that I hadn't thought of, or conversely, there were a couple of times where folks, put multiple things in, and that was amazing. I got an email from my second grade teacher, Doris Larson, Mrs. Larson, the other day, and she had her own little list in it, which was great. And it was, there was one about licking the knife after you've made the peanut butter sandwich. And like, I'd love to do that. And, so there were things that were connected, but sometimes there were just folks' random thoughts. It was usually something seasonal or food related stuff came up. Some memories came up, which is really good. Like that first list of mine, I was actually texting with one of my sisters about it last night. Sticking your foot out from under the cover so that you can get a bit of cool air. That's in the first list, things like that.
See, I don't do that because I was raised in Alabama. I was raised in Alabama by generations of Southerners, and was told that if you let your foot hang out, then the devil will reach up and grab it.
Oh, that's so dark.
I don't do that.
Well, happy Halloween, I guess.
Enchanted, though.
Oh.
You can beat that.
So we have to mention this. Martin is actually here tonight, the painter of the rocks in question, and he just wants to say he does not deserve credit for the rocks. His mom painted them.
No,
but bless you for thinking that he had artistic talent as a child. Much less now, he says, smiley face. And
Margaret
he is
Wilson.
very happy they give you joy, and we need to give some to Todd. So
I would love that.
So thank you for that, Martin.
He cannot let his mother not get credit as Alabama mama. I will tell you another thing about Martin's mother. Martin's mother is a petite, real genteel Southern lady. And when I was in the 10th grade, she and a bunch of other, parents threw this huge Halloween party.
Oh my God.
I went as Sleeping Beauty in one of those flannel floral nightgowns, but everybody thought I was Wee Willie Winkle. But Martin's mother, I can see her as if it was yesterday, was in a like mechanics onesie. It's not called a onesie. Overalls?
Jumper,
with a full vicious Wolfman mask.
Whoa.
Yes, and no one knew that this gentle lady was in it. Yeah, so
Well,
his mama's
Halloween.
got some funk.
Letting that other side out,
Well, shout out to Martin's mom. Here is another question that I think we can actually pair with one that I had. So one of our attendees is hoping to see more of the inside of the book. And I was wondering, do y'all have like a favorite page or maybe like several favorite?
Yes,
pages?
yes,
There's
yes.
so many like pretty little illustrations. So.
Yes, they're fabulous.
There's, you go first, Helen. I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I enjoy, which
I
think
literally
might
just
have been-
turned to that.
Which these are the Thanksgiving Day parade floats, and I think that might have been one of the first ones that I noticed, because on Instagram you post them with the picture because you yourself are a fabulous photographer, and it was a picture of one of the floats. Was it a dinosaur? What was it? What was the float that you took a picture of?
There was a dinosaur float. Yeah,
yes,
it was from a couple of. I usually go up on the Wednesday before that and see them. This one is one of Josie's that I love, which is the dinosaur falling apart at the end of Bringing Up Baby. There's Katharine Hepburn.
Look at
there's the light bright.
The light brights, right? Which I love. Light bright.
Here's how we separated out some of the individuals.
Yeah.
The bookmark from your childhood.
The Jiffy Pop.
I love Jiffy Pop. There's one in here where I can't find it. Let me look.
I love, of course, a cassette tape.
Yes, I love that.
Had many a mixtape. I still have. I'm, as you well know, I am not a keeper of things, but I do still have some mixtapes.
Your cassettes,
but no cassette player.
That is Margaret Atwood's Twitter right there, drawing. So here's another half page.
Yes.
So it's highly.
Here's our favorite.
There he is in the sweater.
And look at this fabulous drawing of our darling author.
Was just happy I look skinny.
You are.
Here's one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites. The fact that the melting of the Wicked Witch of the West is never explained yet quickly accepted.
And the peeps.
And the peeps. So there's everything's throughout. There's Anne Rice's first house or former house that inspired the Witching Hour.
I will tell you that there is somewhere I will find this because I know it exists. I took a first trip with my husband when we were 25. We go to New Orleans, and the first place I drug him to was Anne Rice's house. And there is a picture of me scaling her fence.
I probably would have done the same thing. I love those books. Witching Hour, there's an essay called On Summer Reading, and I remember being in college with that doorstop of a novel, and in the smack dab in the middle of it is the history of the Talamasca, which is the agency investigating the Mayfair family. That is a fantastic book. And I remember when I first moved to New York, my college roommate, Casey Hampton, and I went to see her at a signing, and she was wearing a full-length bridal dress and veil, and drinking tab. It was amazing.
See, and this is how this book works. And that he says this, first moving to New York City. And I think about when I moved to New York City in 1992, and I had read Anne Patchett's The Patron Saint of Liars. And I moved with that book. So I always think of her with me. And because a book is a friend, really, especially when you don't know anyone and you are alone, a book is a friend, and really this is what this is. It's a friend. It's a good friend. I really think you shine through this, and it makes me so happy that people are gonna have a little bit of Todd.
Well, you're very sweet, and I'll tell you what was really interesting the other day. I got a DM from someone who just bought it and started reading it, and we don't know each other, but then we had a conversation on Instagram, and now we're connected through that. And that's something that I like, to go back to the toy in the box. Like, I didn't think about that it could reach somebody else, and that we have that connection, or you have that communion of sorts. And if I say this in the beginning too, and I mean it, that if it brightens the load for just a day or an hour or a minute, or it makes you smile, then that's kind of everything to me, for real.
And I think that it shows that you were having fun when you wrote the book. I'm gonna really keep that toy metaphor. Is metaphor the right word? You know, like I think that it really it shows. It feels fun.
Well, thank you.
You know, and I know personally from, you know, watching the whole progress that it was a joyous experience, because not everyone has that experience when they write, and it shows.
Well, thank
A lot
you.
of times that shows.
It was, you know, and even now still doing the list, like there's always something new, or there, you know, like we were in the car the other day and a song came on and I screenshot it, and so that it could make it into the next list. It was what I put in the other day. It was Gotham City. It was on the jazz station and I'd never heard it before and I loved it. So that was really, it's been a wonderful experience, and this has been so wonderful. And the one thing that I will add that I know you feel strongly, my friend, is the gratitude to places like RJ Julia and Books and Books and BookHampton, because I think that bookstores are the engine of a community, and they bring people together and they share ideas together. You should support your indie bookstores. You should support them any way that you can. And I don't just mean my own book or Helen's, I'm saying just for yourself, your kids. You know, our mutual friend the other day, RJ Julia, said something, and she said, remember the first time somebody handed you a book. And you can go to your local indie, whether it's Madison, Connecticut, or the Hamptons or Miami, and you can pick up a book and you can change somebody's life tomorrow by giving it to them. So never underestimate the power that a book can be: a door, a mirror, a portal, and you can find them at stores like this. I never thought I would do something like this in my life, and I am so grateful and happy to be here.
Are you having fun, Todd?
Just
I'll tell you, another great thing about this is it's a point of reference. So there are so many books listed, you know, in here that you think, oh, I remember this, or oh, I haven't read that. So really, it's what's the word? Is porthole the right word, or portal? What's on the top of a whale's head? Whatever the opposite of that is.
Blowholes?
That's what this is.
There you go. Oh, well, usually it's my responsibility to sort of bring things to a gentle close and wrap everything up in a nice bow. But I feel like you two just did that for me so beautifully. I mean, I don't know what more to say.
We have to pick a winner. I need to be
yes. So what we will do is reach out to that person via email.
Yes. All right. So Todd, I'm trying to think of, I almost said it. What was the best question? So I can't give it to Martin. No, Martin. So I can't. I'll buy his own. I'll buy another copy. I liked. What did we? So what set us on a good tangent?
Here's a good one that relates from Patty Young. It says, so the last page of the book is a quote from Cicely Tyson in the New York Times, September 26, 2013. Bless you, my angel, and pace yourself. And Patty asks, what does that mean to you? And, you know, I love that quote. Well, I love Cicely Tyson as an actress and think she was an amazing human being, and her autobiography is fantastic. And I don't know why that quote just jumped out to me and stuck to me, because I feel like it's almost sort of a blessing that she's giving, or she was giving to the reporter when she was talking to them. And I just love that the juxtaposition of that, pace yourself, of like, be careful, you know, take care of yourself, take care of the world around you. That's
life is long, and writing can be long. And I go back to playing with that toy 2 hours a day. You wrote a book, you know, with 2 hours a day. You know, I think people, again, writers can think it's, you know, it's all or nothing. It's, you know, you have to quit your job or only do that. And it really is just a matter of 2 hours a day, 15 minutes a day. And talking about tangents, I have a Cicely Tyson moment to share. I was sitting at NARS, you know, beauty store on the Upper East Side, having my eyebrows plucked. And Cicely Tyson came in.
Wow.
From the hotel next door, sits in a chair, and various people in the store were saying, Cicely, Cicely, Cicely. And my friend Yoli, who was plucking my eyebrow, said, Miss Tyson, Miss Tyson? And she said, yes, yes. So she
Oh, I
didn't even
love that.
respond to that lack of respect. She, call me Mrs. Tyson. So I think that's the winner. I think that Patty has won.
Patty Young won.
Patty Young won. I think that's pretty good. Pretty good tangent.
We'll send you both books, Patty.
Yes. So Patty, you can either reach out through the chat if there's time, or we'll contact you by email. Either way, we'll get these to you. No worries. And everyone, don't forget that Little Pieces of Hope is available from RJ Julia, Wesleyan RJ Julia, BookHampton, and Books and Books. And again, we do have a limited number of signed book plates, so make sure you get your order in ASAP. Someone was asking if it makes a good holiday gift. I think if you buy 10 of them, give them to everybody you know. They're
Put
wonderful.
it in a pumpkin.
So, absolutely.
Put it in a pumpkin, put it in a stocking, put it in the cornucopia at Thanksgiving.
All right.
That works.
Well, that is about it from me. So I don't know if either of you have a little piece of hope to close us out before we end tonight.
Just to say thank you to Abby, and thank you to my dear friend Helen for this wonderful night, and for everybody who joined us tonight to watch and listen, and happy reading.
Happy reading. And a red
Good
solo
night.
cup.
Cheers.
Cheers. How do I get out of here? Bye.
Okay, so I have yet to remove Patty just because I want to make sure that she knows she got it.
Yeah, I mean, Patty, if you're there, you should be able to send it to us in the chat, your contact info. But if you've stepped away from your computer, then I think we should be able to reach out via email.
Okay.
So we will figure it out. And then, because my suggestion to them had been, because we were running low on time, to just pick somebody from the email registry.